Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Oh, if you thought your salmon was bad, look at this for ahi. Oh my God.
They're going to inject it with color. They're going to put chlorine in it to kill the smell. They're going to make this look like it's supposedly fresh. And you as a consumer are going to be none the wiser. You have no clue what you're actually eating in the grocery store, and they fool you as the consumer because this is factory fishing, just like factory farming. All that's nasty.
I did not know that they are marinating the fish in this carbon monoxide solution to preserve it. I've done a lot of videos on salmon and how farmed salmon is basically white unless they add coloring to it in their feed. This with wild ahi or ahi in general is pretty crazy that it looks so rotten a lot of times, and then they'll put it in a solution, they'll inject it with chemicals, sodium tripolyphosphate, and they'll put it in a carbon monoxide bath to make it change from dark brown, gray to bright pink. That's not fresh fish that we're being fed. And they don't have to label these things. I'm just gonna stick to grass-fed beef. If you guys wanna eat fish, that's fine, but know the quality of what you're getting. Preferably get it fresh because that's gross. And I don't wanna eat fish with all those things in it. And I want fish that is actually red and orange and isn't made from this brown, gray color to some fake red color. That's disgusting.
Unfortunately, it's not just the fish. I mean, the chicken gets washed in like a chlorine bleach-like solution when it's, processed before it goes to the store. Produce is like harvested way early, stored for I don't even know how long, and sprayed with chemicals to make it ripen, really. And it's pretty insane, the stuff that our government is allowing to happen to our food prior to us eating it.
A signal from deep space, a planet that defies all expectations, and a race to another star. What if everything we thought we knew about the universe is about to be shattered? The James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, has uncovered secrets so shocking that they could rewrite the rules of life itself. But is Proxima b truly a new Earth, or a deadly trap in the vastness of space? The James Webb Space Telescope, often hailed as humanity's most advanced instrument in the sky, has recently turned its gaze toward one of the most intriguing exoplanets ever discovered, Proxima b. This distant world, orbiting the red dwarf star Proxima Centauri, has captivated scientists and enthusiasts alike since its discovery. But now, with the unparalleled capabilities of the JWST, we are finally getting a closer look at this mysterious planet, and the revelations are nothing short of extraordinary. Proxima b was first detected in 2013, but it wasn't until the James Webb Space Telescope came into the picture that we could truly appreciate what lies on this distant world.
I don't know about you, but right now, my feed is just jam-packed with videos of people saying that the James Webb Telescope has found lights on Proxima b. Now, Proxima b is tidally locked, so one side always faces the sun and one side always stays in the dark. And there's been speculation that there may be life in that outer ridge in between the light and the dark, but saying that they've seen lights, city lights, on this planet. And of course, my brain is all super excited about it, and I'm like digging a little more, and then I find this guy.
Did NASA just find city lights on another planet? Let's break it down. No, NASA hasn't confirmed any discovery of artificial lights on Proxima b. What's really going on is that scientists are looking into whether we could detect something like that on the planet's dark side using telescopes like the James Webb. For those who don't know, Proxima b is an exoplanet orbiting Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our solar system, about 4 light years away. Scientists think it's tidally locked, meaning one side is always in daylight while the other is stuck in darkness. Now, here's where it gets interesting. It's in the habitable zone of its star, which technically means liquid water could exist. And if there's water, well, that's where people start speculating about alien life. Some researchers have thrown out the idea that if an advanced civilization exists on the dark side of Proxima b, they might have artificial lights, kind of like the way we see city lights on Earth from space. But right now, that's just a theory. The James Webb Telescope might be able to pick up signals like that, but only if the lights are bright enough. Even then, it'd have to scan super specific wavelengths of light, way more precise than what we normally look for. So bottom line, there's no actual evidence of cities or lights on Proxima b. What we do have is a study about whether it's even possible to detect them. So if you see videos claiming NASA already found them, don't fall for the hype.
So apparently there was a paper that was published that was basically discussing the capability of the James Webb Telescope to potentially detect lights if there are any, and it was like seriously misinterpreted. So if you see any of those videos, unfortunately, they're a little bit of BS. Actually, they're a lot of bit of BS because they're way wrong, unfortunately.
There are over 30,000 asteroids orbiting near Earth, and that number is growing every day. Most of them are no threat to us, but there is one huge deadly asteroid that has worried astronomers for years, and we know that it's coming back to Earth in 2029. Apophis, a huge asteroid making its way towards Earth, is 340 meters or 1,100 feet across. For reference, Apophis is about 100 feet longer than the Eiffel Tower. It's twice the size of the Washington Monument and is the size of most large cruise ships. An Apophis impact would create an explosion equivalent to over 1,000 megatons of TNT. That's tens to hundreds of nuclear bombs all going off at the same time. Anything within several hundred kilometers of the impact site would be instantly vaporized or receive massive damage. Thankfully, Apophis isn't supposed to hit us, but it will skim Earth uncomfortably close at just 31,000 kilometers, which is lower than geosynchronous satellites that orbit our planet.
We've talked about Apophis before. I just didn't know that it was going to be that close, like where our frickin' satellites and stuff are up there. So I wonder if they're worried about some of them being taken out when this bad boy comes around in a few years. I mean, if there really are satellites out there, which of course I am inclined to believe, and I know a lot of people don't, but hey, we all choose our own poison. Speaking of choices, won't you please choose to hit that like button for me, and if you haven't already, won't you consider subscribing? All right, let's get back to this stuff.
It's about time we finally get some good news. Apparently an asteroid about the size of a football field is hurtling towards Earth and is being called the City Killer, saying that basically if it were to fall on Paris, New York, London, it would obliterate, annihilate the entire city. Don't scroll after I talk about the asteroid because there's actually another event happening on Earth that you guys need to know about. But here's the thing about this. The likelihood of it actually hitting Earth is currently at 1.6%. It's supposed to pass Earth, come back around, and be back around 2028. And scientists believe that it'll hopefully be zero chance it'll hit Earth, or they'll be able to do something about it so that it won't. And basically, scientists across the international community are saying that we need to put as many assets as we can looking at this so that we can plan accordingly. So about 300 miles off the coast of Oregon, there is a miles-long volcano that scientists are saying is going to erupt soon. According to scientists, this volcano has erupted 50 times over the last 800 years, the most recent time being in 2015. But here's the good news. With it being 300 miles off the shore and the top of the volcano 4,500 feet below the ocean surface, you're probably not going to feel a thing. In fact, they even said that if you were in a boat over it when it happened, you would probably never even know.
I'm fairly certain that the asteroid he's talking about is the YR-24. Something like that. It's supposed to come back in like 2032, and there are videos all over the place of people saying that it's increased from a 1 in 32 chance to a 1 in 16 chance, or you know, it's getting greater chances that it's gonna strike us. And I just, you know, I looked in the Google machines and computer says no. So it says basically there's an almost zero chance that it's gonna actually hit us. Of course, that stuff changes because we can't control what's going on in space at all yet. Oh, and as far as that volcano, there's volcanoes all over the place, but super huge volcano erupting under the ocean, that's kind of cool.
What you're seeing is a simulation of the three-body problem, combining physics and mathematics. When three bodies of equal mass, distance, and velocity interact, even the tiniest difference in their starting conditions can turn their orderly motion into chaotic, unpredictable trajectories. This shows how complex systems like three interacting bodies can become inherently chaotic and impossible to predict.
So I worked with a fellow once that told me about this three bodies theory, and it makes me think of these asteroids that are coming to destroy us, right? And they're going to be basically interacting with our moon and our Earth at the same time. So that's the three bodies, and we can really not tell which way they're going. I mean, we can like do some kind of clackety-clackety in the math machines and stuff like that and figure out what we think is going to happen. But in reality, a lot of stuff becomes unpredictable when we have these three celestial bodies interacting with each other in that manner. So maybe we will get hit, hell, I don't know.
Shane Dawson explains how the end of the world will play out.
Running around shooting us with lasers. No, they are so much smarter than that.
It might hide its true progress to avoid being switched off, especially if it perceives that revealing its capabilities could be seen as a threat.
They won't resort to violence. They've learned from our past. They'll do it by making us meaningless.
So what does this mean for us? Will we become obsolete?
Once ASI comes out, it is going to wipe out all of our jobs. Every single one.
We are headed into a jobless society.
Because there's no job that AI can't do better.
When automation replaces human labor, capital itself will have to change.
It will make our money worthless.
The fiat dollar will not make sense in its current state.
Why have money when AI can figure out a better system? It will create a whole new government and a new way to rule over humans. I mean, the old form of government clearly isn't working. We have wars happening, candidates fighting with each other, parties always at odds. AI will figure out a better solution.
It is not unreasonable to expect these advanced systems to make groundbreaking scientific discoveries and introduce new economic and governance models.
It could completely collapse our entire society in an instant.
Sound far-fetched? It's already happening.
And we would have to start over from scratch.
There are some super cool theories that this has already happened on our planet with previous civilizations, and not just once, like multiple times. We've created this AI thing in one form or another, and it's destroyed us, and we had to like destroy it and build back. And it's absolutely fantastic theory, and we're definitely headed down that path, which is a little scary. I mean, for my kids' sake, I don't think it's gonna happen in my time, but I don't know, you never know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these salt mines are dead giants. Y'all cannot tell me these salt mines are not dead giants. Bruh, this looks like chunks of meat. Are y'all kidding me right now? This looks like bacon or pork chops, but this is salt from the mine. This looks like blood. Look at it. Look! This looks like the inside of a body. Look at it. Look at it. Bro, they're all just petrified bodies from giants. Look at the resemblance if it started to become petrified over time. Look at it. Look at this one. This one looks like a woman. Look. Look. They all over the world. Humanoid looking entities that are in the shape of mountains and islands and caves. Just look at this one. This is the original image. This is what it originally looks like. But then when you flip it to the side, it looked like a body. Look! You think it's stopping humanoids? Nope. This is like a big ass snake, a big ass petrified snake. It still got the scales. They call this Gorilla Island. Bruh, look at that big ass gorilla. Look at it. It's all over the world. Look at that elephant. Look at that turtle. Oh my God. This world is a lie. The whole thing is a lie.
So it said that a bubble is a sphere because it is the easiest form to hold. And that's why things are the shapes that they are, why cells are the shapes that they are, is because it's the easiest form for it to hold. Perhaps this Earth, in its grand design, creates rocks the same way that the people are created from the Earth. Just a theory. I'm sure I'm missing a lot in there somewhere, and scientific words and facts and stuff like that. Or maybe, just maybe, that was the previous civilization that tinkered with AI too much, and then they had to destroy it, and it destroyed them, and then that's what we got left. I just spit. I hope nobody saw that.
Research has people a little frightened to use it. There's a new study out that says after just one day, chemicals in sunscreens enter your bloodstream.
Before you grab that bottle of sunscreen, the first thing you need to do is check the ingredients on the back.
They are chemicals and they can potentially be dangerous.
Look at any bottle of sunscreen on the store shelf and it'll more than likely have one of these ingredients.
Avobenzone and oxybenzone are very commonly in your chemical sunscreens.
But a new study finds when you apply sunscreen with those chemicals, along with two other ones known as escamsol and octocrylene, they can absorb into your skin and into your bloodstream.
In more than 80% of the sunscreen products sold in the USA were now considered potentially unsafe for use.
All right, so you can't eat the food because it's gonna make you sick. You can't go outside because the sun will make you sick. You can't put on sunscreen to go outside because the sunscreen's gonna make you sick. You can't take the medication that they want you to take because the medication has side effects that's gonna make you sick. So you take more medication that is gonna continue to make you sick. But don't worry, I'm sure you can see your doctor eventually. It's just a vicious cycle. It's like everything around us is trying to make us sick. And the thing that is supposed to protect us from the thing that is supposed to give us cancer is making us sick. It never stops. It really never stops.
Area 51 is the secret government base where they study crashed UFOs and extraterrestrials.
Area 51 is one of many government bases where they have aliens. They've had to spread it out over time due to all the attention it's been getting, especially because of the storming in 2019. And they don't just study the aliens, they're actually working with them. Now, these aliens are more nefarious ones, but in exchange for their technology, the US government has potentially made a detrimental deal at the expense of the American people to further themselves. Now, whether that involves being allowed to abduct a certain amount of people a year or something unimaginably worse, I'm not sure.
The moon is actually made of cheese.
The moon is made of rock, but it's actually hollow inside. This is where galactic beings of light meet in order to watch over Earth and discuss the state of humanity. And with more people waking up now and becoming more conscious, we as a species is starting to ascend. That's why these galactic beings are soon coming here and there's no way to stop them. The government knows this, but it's just trying to control how it gets perceived by the public so that they never fully lose control over us.
Michael Jackson diddled kids at Neverland Ranch.
Michael Jackson was actually killed off and replaced by a clone. That's because he always spoke out against the elites and they couldn't control him. That's why he looked so white in his later years, because it was actually cloned Michael Jackson and the technology wasn't that good. And the Neverland story was created to damage his image and make him look like a weirdo.
The Earth is actually flat!
That's actually the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
While we may not agree with everything this fella has to say, he definitely has some entertaining stuff out there. As far as Area 51 being stormed in 2019, remember that? That was sad. It was stormed by like what, a couple hundred people that camped out beyond the limits where they're allowed to be. They were good. They didn't storm anything. But still, yeah, moon, definitely something going on there. Michael Jackson, I like that theory, I really do, and y'all know how I feel about the Earth.
What happens if you go 100 hours without food? Look, this is gonna shock you, but I'm gonna give you a timeline of what happens inside of your body when you go without food for 100 hours. Between the 0 to 14-hour mark of this we call fast, you're going to lower insulin and you're going to complete digestion. That's beneficial because lowering insulin helps you burn fat, and obviously it helps with your digestive system. Around the 16 to 17-hour mark of this fast, you start to ramp up a process called autophagy, where your cells start to repair and clean themselves. Once you hit that 24-hour mark, you start to reboot intestinal stem cells. So if you suffer with gas, bloating, indigestion, GERD, acid reflux, you start to see huge improvements around the 24-hour mark. 36 hours into this fast is when you enter this fat burning part of the fast, where you really start using fat cells for energy. Your body starts producing more ketones. You feel incredible. Now, as we continue, 48 hours in, you actually reset dopamine receptor sites in your brain. They're called D2 receptor sites. And so many people have dopamine resistance like they have insulin resistance. And when you're dopamine resistant, you might have mood issues, depression, things don't bring you joy. So resetting those receptor sites are incredible, and you get that around the 48-hour mark. As we move on, 72 hours in, your immune system completely reboots itself. And that's really important because so many people have autoimmune disease, they get sick often. What if you could reboot your immune system in 72 hours? Well, you could do that. Once you get towards the 100th hour, which is 4 days and 4 hours total, you have a stem cell surge where your body starts producing these stem cells to use for healing. It could be for your liver, for your brain. Stem cells are the key to anti-aging. You get a surge of them towards the 100-hour mark. Have you ever done this before? Let me know in the comment section down below.
Seen a lot of videos on fasting in the last few days, which is interesting because it's coming around in popularity again, I guess. And the health benefits that people are touting for fasting, they're incredible. Like, I even saw a couple of videos of doctors saying that it can help with the C word. Now, I don't know if that is true or false. Clearly, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling anybody, hey, you need to fast if you have this C word, because I don't know, obviously. But that's interesting that it's something so simple as just don't eat for a while and let your body heal itself. Has anybody even tried that? If you have, let me know.
What is the greatest gaslight of all time that no one seems to talk about? The organic food industry. Let me show you. First is just how expensive it is. Consumer Reports compared the top 100 grocery items and found that on average, the organic version of those foods were 47% more expensive. So if a family of 4 wanted to eat organic, their monthly grocery bill just went from around $1,300 to almost $2,000 a month. But that's okay, because at least organic food is safer and healthier for you, right? Well, not quite. This is Dan Glickman, the Secretary of Agriculture under President Clinton, whose job it was to create organic food labeling in the United States. And in his final statement, he said and wanted to make clear that organic is not a statement about food safety or a value judgment about the nutrition or quality of the food. That the whole point was just to build trust with consumers. Did you hear that? The man who invented it said it has nothing to do with how safe or healthy your food is, which brings us to our last point. Most people just assume that organic has to be healthier for you, not because of data, but just how it's marketed and the price tag. But the good news is these foods have been studied a lot, and the results are always the same, showing that organic foods don't have any more nutrients, and no, it's not chemical free either. Non-organic and organic farming use both synthetic and non-synthetic pesticides on their crops. I'm not saying you shouldn't care about the quality of your food. You should always try to eat a mostly whole, minimally processed diet. Just know this label really doesn't mean that much, and there's no reason to stress if you can't afford the price tag.
What? Now, I didn't know that that was the fact. I thought that, they were just grown differently. Organic plants were grown differently. They're using the same seeds, the genetically modified seeds. It was just grown differently. But wow, that's crazy. There's a show that I saw. It's called Penn and Teller. Yeah, Penn and Teller BS. And what they did was they had produce and they're like, hey, a banana. Try this. This one's regular and this one's organic. And people are like, oh, the organic one is so much sweeter and it's got such a better texture. And it turns out they just took the same banana and cut it in half. So it's a whole bunch of head games, really, when people are like, oh, it's organic. And personally, I don't care. If you want to buy organic, buy organic. I've never been like, oh, we have to buy organic, because it didn't make much sense to me, really.
On September 10th, 2001, the U.S. Secretary of Defense made a chilling admission: $2.3 trillion missing from the Pentagon's budget. No explanation, no accountability. The next day, the world changed. And the exact section of the Pentagon where the financial records were stored, it was the part that got hit. Investigators, computers, data, gone, buried beneath fire, steel, and silence. Some call it a coincidence. Others call it a cover-up.
Yeah, that series of events is extremely coincidental, isn't it? But at the same time, while I'm like, they totally did that, my brain is like, how many audits has the Pentagon failed recently? Like all of them? So why would they suddenly choose that one time to be like, hey, we got a problem, let's cover this up? When they have so much money that's just missing every single year, and they're like, no, whatever, carry on. Speaking of carry on, let's watch the final part of this lecture we're watching. This is the final part.
We're the only planet that I'm aware of that uses currency. okay? In fact, I had an experience where Mornay and Faceas had asked me to try to explain to them why we used money, or what they refer to as paper with pictures on it. So I spent a great deal of time in between contacts putting something together for them. And I had a contact. I was living in Malibu at the time, up on Decker Canyon, and I had this opportunity to present this information to them. So as I'm presenting it, I'm going through it. I had a paper with me that I was reading it off and had little charts that I'd carried in my backpack. And when it was all over, and of course they already knew this information because they've been watching our history, Faceas said, "Thank you very much." Mornay said, "Thank you very much. I enjoyed it." But Faceas just looked at me, and he just had a very straight face. And he just said, "I don't understand." And I said, "Well, what do you not understand?" Now, Faceas was always telepathic. He never learned to use his vocal cords. He said, "I don't understand why you have to live, why you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on. Why do you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on?" That haunted me for many years, that statement. Because, how do we unravel that? What do we create in order to drop that paradigm? And how do we create it? Who's going to step up and say, "You know what? We have fought wars over money. We have fought wars over gold. We have fought wars over this and fought wars over that. We have nearly destroyed the planet. We have destroyed species. We're destroying humanity. And it's all over power, wealth, and things like that. How do we move from this paradigm to the next paradigm? How do we do it?" I know that there are a lot of folks trying, making suggestions, talking to people, sharing their perspectives. I know there are a lot of contactees or folks, there are hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands, who have not come forward yet. The extraterrestrial civilizations have given up on the governments of the world, of Earth, a long time ago. The only ones that are actually fully integrating with a lot of the Earth governments, you don't really want to meet anyway. So, how do we find our soul again? What does it take to change the essence of a man? Is there a phrase? Is there a mantra? Is there a prayer? Is there an event? What does it take to change the essence of a man or a woman? I don't have that answer, but I am asking the question, and I have been for a long time. Many of us, and I'm not necessarily referring to the folks in the room here, many of us have completely lost our way. We know a lot of good people who would do anything for us as friends, but they simply don't have a clue. We want them to be aware of the changes that are coming, and you can put all this information in front of them and they're simply going to just dismiss it because it's too overwhelming to them. They have to take it in little bites and little slices. They just simply don't want to deal with it because they're so overwhelmed just trying to manage a life that already doesn't work, okay, or they're not already happy with because it's all that they know, and they're afraid to let it go because they don't have anything else to believe in, just what it is that they do every day. So in creating a new domain of knowing and asking the question, what is it that we want?
That's it. That's all I could find. That's it. It said that was the final part, and that was very open-ended. I'm sure there's more to that lecture. To be perfectly honest, I don't feel like watching any more of that. It was very interesting. It was a lot of fun to hear about his experiences with aliens, and I wish he would have gotten to why he kept talking about 2012, what he thought was supposed to happen in 2012 that very clearly did not. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm gonna find something a little different to watch coming up in the next episode. I'm gonna call it today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Please come on back in a couple of days. We're gonna watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's gonna be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.